thanks for all the supportive comments in my last video. I didn't do a lot of uploading last year, but I did do a lot of stress crafting behind the scenes, and so I decided to share some of the things I made which helped calm my mind during a stressful year, and maybe these will spark some ideas for your own projects. I also made a running list based on your suggestions. Feel free to share more in the comments. Maybe some of these will spark some ideas as well. I know that everyone is different in what they find relaxing to make, but the act of making any of these things can have therapeutic benefits. First up here are a few art journals I made, and I'll share a little bit of what I learned from making each one of them. They were sort of experiments. This one might look familiar because I shared it in a post on YouTube. I wanted to make an art journal that I actually wanted to doodle and make stuff in, like a chunky junk journal kind of art journal. I was very selective in these papers, and I wanted them to not have too much pattern, but something to be interesting that made me want to make art or just write in this book. And I had a lot of fun making different textures on these pages, putting little hidden or peekaboo pieces of paper with unexpected colors or patterns. I think it would be fun for someone to put little quotes on these little pieces of paper in between the signatures. And the deckled edges aren't everyone's thing, but I really like them, and plus they make it really easy as a bookbinder to hide uneven edges of the paper. And I really liked the process of making this, and that's one thing I'm trying to incorporate more in my projects. It was relaxing to tear the deckled edge of these pages. So the next version of this book, I included rounded edges, which I've liked the feel of more, and I got the binding measurements a little bit more dialed in so you can see it's more straight. Again, I had fun with picking out the theme of the pages and the colors and the patterns. This one was based on my Kiwi pattern design. If you didn't know, I sell my own pattern paper in a Zazzle shop. You can go check it out. I also had fun sorting the different papers into signatures. That is a relaxing part of bookbinding for me, and I really enjoy it, looking at all the colors and tearing the paper and sorting them into an order that I think I would like to sketch on them in, and maybe others would too. I'm still not sure if I want to sell these in my shop, but at the very least I will put up a tutorial soon. I tried to make a paperback version, but the paper got all messed up from the glue and I ended up ripping it off, and this is what I'm left with. That's why I have a lot more exposed bindings on my channel versus like glued cased in books. I actually enjoy the process more when it's like binding with stitches and threading, and I find that more relaxing than gluing books. And so I think I want to try a version of this where it is stitched on the outside. With this version, I tried a vinyl cover and glued the end pages to the inside, which made it a little bit more of a rigid cover, adding more structure. For my bookbinder viewers out there, I'd love to read in the comments which part of the process of binding do you find the most relaxing? And would you rather see a version of this where it is an exposed stitch binding versus a cased in book? Let me know. Still on the topic of paper, I also did kind of a low effort projects that don't require a lot of time, a lot of energy. And so I have these really big sheets of paper that I use as backgrounds in my videos, and they're all solid blank, and I wanted to add some texture, maybe try some painted patterns, and this is actually a good test right here to see what they look like on video. I'm not sure I'll use all of them, but it was really fun just doing the action of this, of just with a paintbrush, making large strokes of painted lines. Also splatters, splattering paint. This one I thought maybe there's a Halloween texture I can try in the background of a video. So here are Halloween colors. So here's an example of an item on top of the background. I prefer the more muted stuff so it's not too distracting from the project I'm showing. So I think these two could work. I'm not sure about this one. I was trying to mimic wood texture. This one's a little too contrasted, so I could probably go over it with a wash. Regardless, it was fun to make these, and I did find it stress relieving. Again, that's the goal I want, is to enjoy the process more than the outcome. And I did actually use this one in the background of a recent photo. That leads into my next de-stressing craft, which is painted paper collage. I usually prefer the painted paper collage versus cutting up found pictures from like magazines or books, because I like the texture and I enjoy the process of making the painted paper. And with this project, I turned my collage pieces into the monthly mail that I send to my monthly mail patrons. I made these doodle challenge cards with prompts on the back, and then I made my own artwork to put on the front. I find this form of art de-stressing because it's almost like playful in nature, and just the action of cutting up pieces and gluing them is playful, and I keep mine really simple. I've seen really complex collage artwork, which is totally fine, but my go-to is more of the simple shapes, and I find that process more de-stressing and enjoyable. I'll most likely put the extra doodle cards that I have in mystery grab bags in my Etsy shop, so look out for that. But if you want to know more about the monthly mail, I'll put that link in the description. During my stressful year, I also tried to get outside as much as I could when the weather was nice. I think being in nature really helps the mind in stressful situations. I'm always inspired by plant life, and where I live, there's a lot of brittle bush and desert wildflowers, so I wanted to incorporate these colors into my next crochet project. I usually enjoy crochet while I watch TV, so it makes TV time even more enjoyable. I can sit with the project and it's soft, and that makes it more calming. And since I had a lot of sit down time because I was recovering from treatment, I needed a project I could sit with, and crochet and knitting is great for that. These are called Daisy Granny Squares, and I learned how to make these from a YouTube channel called Play Hooky With Me. I'll link that down below. Initially, I wanted to make a blanket out of these, but now I'm not so sure because I have so many of them. I could probably turn them into multiple projects. Let me know if you have any ideas. That's one thing I like about granny squares. You don't have to dedicate them to a project right away. You can make multiple of them and then come up with how you want to bring them together after. Also, they're really easy to travel with. Some honorable mentions I wanted to include: I also worked on a puzzle or two, and also Lego projects, which were gifted to me during the time. So those are something I don't usually work on, but I did find them enjoyable and relaxing to make. And I hope you found this video enjoyable and relaxing to watch. Hopefully it gave you some ideas, and if it did, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel for more, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!